Listen, this was your Instagram, this was your TikTok, this was your Twitter of the time, okay? Instead of scrolling, you were flipping through pages. Hello, my beautiful people! Welcome back. It's your girl, Mami Tiff, aka the Pop Culture Baddie, and I am so excited that y'all are joining me here today because I'm going to be showcasing my family's Jet Magazine collection and just talk about importance and the iconicness that Jet Magazine has had on the journalism world as well as Black culture. Now, this idea of creating a special project video series around Jet Magazine actually came to me back in 2020 when the pandemic hit, and I was just sitting in my room and had nothing to do at the time, and I was like, oh my god, this would be such a great time to really showcase this collection. But then eventually school started back up. I was still a student at the time, was getting my degree in journalism at the Kathy Hughes School of Communications at Howard University, which is my degree now. But specifically when it comes to Jet magazines, my introduction actually to Jet was at a very young age when I walked into this very room, and I just remember the size of these magazines, and it just being a little child, it felt like it was designed specifically for me. But then also to seeing all of the beautiful Black icons on a magazine, it really was the introduction and start of my love for pop culture. Now, right now, this collection is actually held in a house that my mom and her siblings grew up in. If you look around the room, you're gonna think, oh wow, this is a bit of a time warp. Now, according to my aunt, this house was either built in 1965 or 1966. They're not exactly sure, but the room clearly has not been changed ever since. And considering that Jet Magazine came out in 1951, I feel like the magazines being stored in this room and the way that this interior has remained, it's just all very thematic and very fitting. Now, I know collecting Black magazines is nothing foreign to just my family, but aside from that, I've always been a lover of magazines. I grew up in an environment where my parents collected magazines, and I've started my own collection. And now that I have the time to actually show y'all the collection, I thought, what better time to do this other than to start this series that will primarily be on my TikTok and Instagram. So make sure to go follow me there, Mami Tiff, everywhere, okay, period. No, but for real, I'm going to be doing an ongoing series where I'm going to be reviewing and breaking down articles, looking at old ads, analyzing the beauty and fashion trends of the time, what music was popping, what TV shows were they addicted to, and overall, all things pop culture. And what better time to do that than to start this during Black History Month? Let's get into it. Whoosh. Jet Magazine's inception came about in 1951 and was put out by the Johnson Publishing Company, which was owned by the Black magazine publisher as well as business owner John H. Johnson. Now, fun fact about this publishing company, they also owned Ebony magazine, which came out in 1945, which Ebony was geared towards the Black middle class. And then they also came out with the Negro Digest, which was a pocket-sized magazine in 1942, and that was one of the very first magazines to actually be put out that was specifically designed for African American readership. Now, Jet Magazine was specifically created to be a weekly circulated magazine that would discuss all things news and entertainment, and they actually deemed themselves as the quote weekly Negro news magazine. And so it was circulated all the way up until 2014, and around this time was actually when a lot of print publications decided to go full on digital because print was essentially dying out. But since then, they have put out a couple of special covers, but like other original magazine publications, it's very far few in between. Nevertheless, not only was Jet Magazine popular within the Black community, but it was a highly regarded publication that also garnered national recognition, specifically for the coverage that they did on Emmett Till and the tragic story that came with him. Jet also covered Black stories and reported on a lot of various topics between the civil rights movement. They discussed social justice issues. They spoke to doctors who would provide health-related knowledge, and they even touched upon reproductive health and abortions, which is extremely controversial considering the time that these magazines were out, and overall was a voice for Black America. I mean, Jet essentially told stories that mainstream media would not typically cover. Now, with all that being said, let's take a look at some of these magazines. Now, can we have a moment to talk about some of my favorite covers? Y'all, this was Halle Berry in 1994 when she played Sharon Stone in the live action Flintstones. Like, I'm literally obsessed. Another 1994 cover of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with the new Aunt Viv. This here is a cover of Aretha Franklin, the icon, the legend Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. Now we're taking this one back to 1976 of Muhammad Ali on the cover of Jet. This was in 1979 of Melba Moore. And then y'all, this must be a special edition, as it says beauty becomes a barrier to Black women film stars. You got Diane Carroll on it, Pam Grier. Look at how iconic this magazine was, and it came out in 1978. Shaka Khan, Shaka Khan. Not Shaka is naughty but nice. This came out in 1980. And then we have the Queen of Disco, my favorite disco artist ever, the Donna Summers. This one is from 1976, and then this one is from 1978. So they must have ran it back. Y'all, look at this 1994 cover of Salt and Pepper's here and we're in effect. Want you to kick it back. Y'all, and then look at this 1982 cover of the dancer, the choreographer, the legend Debbie Allen. Y'all, these are just a few. I have actually no idea how many Jet magazines that my family has in this collection, but we're gonna have to figure out a way to preserve and archive these very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so grateful that I was able to give y'all a little bit of a sneak peek of showcasing this beautiful collection behind me and finally making this video. It's been 5 years in the making. And like I said earlier, I will be going through these magazines and analyzing everything within on my TikTok and Instagram. So definitely make sure to follow me there. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know down in the comments. Feel free to give this a like, subscribe, share this to your mama, your auntie, your sister, your dog, especially your dog, because dogs watch YouTube videos. Show your support in any way that you can so that we can keep Black history moments like this alive. Thanks for watching. Mommy Tiff